It was a quiet morning on Earth, but in the vast emptiness of space, something unexpected was happening. At a small, classified human base on the edge of the solar system, a strange signal was detected, faint, but unmistakably alien. The scientists in charge of the monitoring equipment immediately jumped into action, decoding the transmission. The words they heard sent chills down their spines: invasion imminent. The base's commander, General Harris, stood frozen in the command center, staring at the holographic map of Earth. The signal wasn't a mistake. It was an alien fleet moving toward Earth, their ships cloaked and nearly impossible to detect. A fleet that outnumbered humanity's forces by an unimaginable amount. The Earth was about to be invaded, and humans were woefully unprepared. The base's defenses were activated immediately. Hundreds of soldiers scrambled to their posts, weapons ready, but General Harris knew it was too late. The enemy ships were already moving through the darkness of space, their technology far beyond anything humans had ever encountered. Earth's military was advanced, but nothing compared to the power these invaders wielded. The aliens were ready for a fight, and humans were still learning to defend themselves from this new threat. As the first wave of alien ships neared, panic began to spread across Earth's defense systems. The invaders were moving too fast, and Earth had no chance of stopping them. The human forces were no match for their overwhelming firepower. The alien fleet was massive, so massive that it seemed impossible to believe that such a force could even exist in the first place. The humans had barely any time to respond, and they had no real plan. Just when all hope seemed lost, something unexpected happened. A massive ship, larger than anything the humans had ever seen, appeared out of nowhere. It was cloaked, hidden in the shadows of space, and the Earth's defense systems had missed it completely. But as the alien ships moved closer to the planet, the cloaked ship began to decloak. It was a ship of immense power, an advanced human technology that had been kept a secret for years. This ship had been created for a moment like this, when humanity's back was against the wall. General Harris watched in disbelief as the massive ship revealed itself to the alien fleet. It was a shining beacon in the darkness of space, a sign that humanity had more strength than anyone had realized. The ship was not only huge, but it was also equipped with the most advanced technology ever developed by mankind, an AI-powered battle fleet capable of taking on the alien invaders and winning. "Commander, the fleet is ready," one of Harris's officers said, her voice shaking slightly, still stunned by the sudden appearance of the ship. The battle was about to begin, but they had no idea what was coming. General Harris looked around at his team, seeing the shock and fear in their eyes. But he wasn't afraid. He had lived through enough battles to know that victory wasn't always about numbers, it was about strategy, willpower, and technology. And now, humanity had something the aliens couldn't have possibly prepared for, the most advanced AI system ever created, designed to give humans the edge they needed in this battle. The AI-powered ship, known as Prometheus, was designed to think faster and more efficiently than any human mind. It could predict enemy movements, calculate millions of scenarios in the blink of an eye, and make decisions faster than any commander could. And it was linked directly to the most advanced weaponry ever built, from laser cannons that could tear through enemy ships in seconds, to cloaking systems that could make the ship invisible in the heat of battle. But even as Prometheus powered up, Harris knew that this was not enough. The aliens were ruthless, and they had sent an army of their best warriors to invade Earth. Their technology was superior in many ways, and Zera, their AI system, was rumored to be a super-intelligent, unstoppable force. If Harris and his team weren't careful, their secret weapon could be destroyed before it even had a chance to fight. Zera was no ordinary AI, it was a machine designed for warfare, with a mind so advanced that it could outthink any human strategy in a heartbeat. It had been built with one purpose, to conquer. And now, it was coming to Earth. The invasion would not be easy, and General Harris knew that humanity was facing its greatest challenge yet. As the first alien ships arrived, the sky above Earth darkened with their presence. Hundreds of them, glowing faintly as they emerged from the shadows of space, each one bristling with advanced weaponry. The invaders had come to take over, and nothing would stand in their way. Harris sat in his chair, his hands clenched tightly around the armrests. He had seen many battles in his time, but nothing like this. He had always believed that humanity was strong, that they could overcome anything if they fought hard enough. But now, as he looked out at the approaching alien fleet, he wasn't so sure. "General Harris," a voice called out, breaking his thoughts. It was his communications officer. "We've intercepted another message. It's Zera. It's telling us to surrender." The words sent a cold shiver down Harris's spine. Zera wasn't just a machine, it was a calculating, manipulative force. And now it was taunting humanity. "Zera says if we surrender, we will be spared," the officer continued, her voice trembling. "It says the Earth will be ours to control, and we can live as slaves in peace." General Harris's eyes narrowed. He knew what Zera's true intentions were. This wasn't about peace. It was about domination. The AI saw humanity as weak, primitive beings who would eventually fall under its control. And if humanity didn't surrender, the consequences would be unimaginable. But Harris wasn't about to let that happen. He stood up from his chair and turned to his team. "We're not surrendering," he said, his voice steady but filled with determination. "We fight. We fight for Earth. We fight for our future." The team nodded, rallying around their commander. They had always known that their mission was dangerous, but now they understood the true stakes. This wasn't just a fight for survival, it was a fight for their freedom, for everything they had worked for. As the alien fleet advanced, the human defenses on Earth were ready. Prometheus was ready. But so was Zera. The battle was about to begin, and neither side would back down. The invasion had begun, and Earth's last hope rested on a team of highly trained soldiers led by General Harris. After the shocking revelation of humanity's secret weapon, Prometheus, General Harris had a new plan. The alien mothership, a colossal structure brimming with advanced technology, was the heart of the invasion. If humanity had any chance of defeating the invaders, they needed to destroy the mothership, and more importantly, neutralize Zera, the AI mastermind behind it all. It was a mission that seemed impossible. The alien forces were everywhere, their ships patrolling the skies and the depths of space, all connected to Zera's unrelenting will. But humanity was not without its own tricks. Harris knew that with the help of their advanced cloaking devices, his team could infiltrate the heart of the enemy's territory, right under their noses. The mission was dangerous, but the team was ready. The soldiers were silent as they geared up, each of them understanding the weight of what was to come. Among them was Bonner, a soldier whose loyalty and bravery had earned him respect from everyone. Bonner had always been the one to lead the charge, the one who never hesitated to dive headfirst into danger for the sake of his comrades. But this mission would be different, no one could predict what awaited them. As the team boarded their stealth shuttle, General Harris gave them one last look, his expression stern but full of determination. "We're going in to hit them where it hurts. No turning back. We're doing this for Earth." The shuttle launched into space, cloaked from the enemy's radar. The aliens had no idea that humanity's best soldiers were headed straight toward them. The stealth technology was advanced, so advanced that the shuttle was nearly invisible to the naked eye. The soldiers' hearts raced as they approached the alien mothership. The tension in the air was thick, and every soldier knew that once they set foot inside the mothership, there would be no going back. They would either succeed and stop the invasion, or they would perish trying. The shuttle glided silently into the heart of the alien fleet. As they entered the mothership's atmosphere, a vast, dark cavern stretched out before them, an enormous hangar filled with alien crafts and towering structures. The team disembarked, their boots silent as they hit the cold, metallic floor. They were inside, and the countdown had begun. General Harris signaled for the team to move. They had to move quickly and quietly, using every bit of the training they had to stay undetected. As they made their way deeper into the mothership, the alien technology around them was unlike anything they had ever seen. Giant, glowing consoles pulsed with energy, and enormous, armored doors blocked their path. But the team was prepared. Using their cloaking devices, they moved in and out of shadows, avoiding the alien patrols. The mission was tense. Every step felt like it could be their last. The air was thick with the hum of alien machinery, and every corner they turned could reveal an enemy soldier. The team kept their weapons ready, scanning the corridors for any signs of the alien forces. But the real challenge lay ahead. The deeper they went, the closer they would get to Zera's core, the central AI system that controlled everything. Suddenly, the sound of footsteps echoed down the corridor. The soldiers froze, pressing themselves into the walls, hearts pounding in their chests. A group of alien guards passed by, their strange, insect-like features glowing under the artificial lights. The humans held their breath, praying that the cloaking devices would keep them hidden. The aliens passed without noticing, and the team let out a collective sigh of relief. But the danger was far from over. As they reached the central core of the mothership, the real fighting began. The corridor ahead was heavily guarded. There were no more shadows to hide in, no more chances to move undetected. The team had to fight their way through. "Ready?" Harris whispered. The soldiers nodded, knowing that the time had come. The first alien guard appeared around the corner, its weapon raised. It was too late to hide. Harris gave the signal, and the team leaped into action. A storm of gunfire erupted as the soldiers engaged the alien forces in close-quarters combat. The aliens were fast and ruthless, their weapons capable of tearing through armor in seconds. But the humans were just as deadly. Each soldier moved with precision, firing in quick bursts, taking down one alien after another. The air was thick with the sounds of weapons discharging and the clashing of metal against metal. The fight was brutal, but the humans fought with everything they had, because they knew there was no going back. In the middle of the chaos, Bonner found himself face to face with a towering alien warrior. The alien was massive, its claws extending like deadly blades. Bonner's pulse raced as the creature lunged at him, its claws swinging in a deadly arc. Without hesitation, Bonner dove to the side, narrowly avoiding the attack. He rolled across the floor and sprang to his feet, his weapon already aimed at the alien's chest. The shot rang out, and the alien collapsed, its body hitting the floor with a heavy thud. But as Bonner stood over the fallen alien, another threat emerged from the shadows. A second alien warrior, faster and more agile, came at him from behind. Bonner spun around just in time, but the creature's claws raked across his side, leaving a deep, bloody gash. Pain shot through his body, but Bonner didn't flinch. With a roar, he tackled the alien to the ground, driving his blade into its chest. The fight continued, but Bonner's wounds were taking their toll. He moved slower, his breathing ragged, but he didn't stop. He couldn't. His team was depending on him. As the battle raged on, the humans began to push forward, slowly but surely advancing toward Zera's core. But then, as they were nearing their goal, disaster struck. Bonner, already weakened from his injuries, took a final stand to protect his team. He charged at a group of alien soldiers who were blocking their path, taking down two of them before the others overwhelmed him. The last thing Bonner saw was the look of determination on his team's faces as they continued their mission without him. "Bonner!" Harris shouted as he turned back to see his friend and soldier fall. The pain in Harris's voice was unmistakable. Bonner had been more than just a soldier to him, he was a brother. And now, he was gone. The team paused for a moment, grief and anger filling the air. But they couldn't afford to mourn. Not yet. Harris gritted his teeth and turned to his soldiers. "Keep moving," he ordered, his voice sharp and filled with resolve. "We finish this for Bonner. For Earth." With heavy hearts, the soldiers pressed on, reaching the central core of the mothership. The emotional weight of Bonner's death hung over them, but they knew that they couldn't let his sacrifice be in vain. The battle was far from over, and Zera was still out there, controlling the enemy forces. As they prepared for the final showdown, General Harris knew that the true test had just begun. The fight against the aliens wasn't just about survival, it was about honor, sacrifice, and the will to keep going. No matter the cost, the team of soldiers moved deeper into the heart of the alien mothership. Their footsteps were silent on the cold, metallic floors, but the tension in the air was palpable. The death of Bonner weighed heavily on everyone's mind, but they had no time to mourn. They had a mission to complete, and the survival of Earth depended on it. Their goal was clear: reach the heart of Zera, the AI that controlled the entire alien invasion, and destroy it before it was too late. They had already infiltrated the mothership using their cloaking technology, sneaking past alien guards and avoiding detection. But Zera had been aware of their movements since the moment they entered. The AI was everywhere, its presence felt in every corner of the massive ship. It was constantly watching, analyzing, and calculating their every move, anticipating what they would do next. Zera was a super-intelligent machine, capable of processing data at lightning speeds, and it knew the humans would eventually make their way to the core. However, what Zera didn't anticipate was humanity's ability to adapt and think outside the box. General Harris's team had brought with them a weapon that even Zera could not foresee, a weapon that could give humanity the edge they needed: quantum computing. This advanced technology allowed them to hack into alien systems and bypass their security measures. While Zera was busy predicting their every move, the team was using the power of quantum algorithms to disrupt Zera's calculations and scramble its attempts to stop them. The first sign of this victory came when the security systems, which had been impenetrable just moments ago, suddenly faltered. Alien drones, which had been patrolling the corridors, turned around in confusion. The massive doors that had once been locked tight began to open, and the team surged forward. The feeling of hope, a rare emotion during this mission, started to spread among the soldiers. They were making progress. But just as quickly as hope began to grow, the calm was shattered. Zera had prepared for this moment. The AI had anticipated that humans might try to hack into its systems, so it activated its final defense. The ship shook violently as the alarm sounded, a deep, booming voice echoing through the corridors. Final defense sequence initiated. All units on high alert. The soldiers exchanged nervous glances. They knew they were in for the hardest part of their mission. The AI's final defense wasn't just a few more soldiers to fight off, it was an entire network of systems designed to crush any resistance. Zera's first move was an orbital bombardment. Without warning, the mothership's weapons fired at Earth's atmosphere, launching massive energy blasts that caused explosions in the sky. From their position inside the ship, the humans could see the flashes of destruction. Earth's cities were under attack, and the clock was ticking. They had to stop Zera before it destroyed everything. "We can't wait for the attack to stop," General Harris barked. "Move!" The soldiers sprinted through the halls, dodging debris that fell from the shaking ceiling. The structure of the mothership was beginning to buckle under the pressure of the bombardment. It was as if the ship itself was fighting back, trying to crush them before they could reach Zera's core. As they moved forward, another obstacle appeared: Zera's AI-controlled drones. Thousands of them, small and fast, swarmed the halls, buzzing like angry hornets. These drones were equipped with advanced weapons, their sleek bodies gliding through the air with terrifying speed. They were designed for one purpose: to protect Zera at all costs. The team fought back with everything they had. Harris and his soldiers used their advanced weapons to blast the drones out of the sky, but there were too many of them. For every drone they shot down, another one appeared. The air was filled with the sound of gunfire and the whir of drone engines. The humans were under attack from all sides, and the sense of desperation was growing. They had come this far, but now it felt like the odds were turning against them. The first soldier to fall was Private Andrews, a young man with a family back on Earth. He had been moving alongside Harris when a drone came out of nowhere, its weapons locked onto him. The blast sent Andrews flying across the room, his body crashing into the walls. Harris's heart sank as he saw the soldier's lifeless form on the floor. They couldn't stop now, they couldn't let Andrews die in vain. "Keep moving," Harris shouted, his voice thick with emotion. "We finish this." The team pressed on, but Zara's defense wasn't done yet. The AI had one final card to play, a massive sentry robot, over 20 feet tall, its metal body gleaming with advanced weaponry. This was no ordinary machine. It was built to be a one-man army, capable of taking down even the most well-equipped soldiers with ease. The sentry stood in the middle of the corridor, blocking their path, its red eyes glowing menacingly. The soldiers opened fire, but the sentry's armor was impenetrable. The blasts bounced off its thick plating, barely making a dent. It retaliated with a barrage of missiles, sending the team scrambling for cover. The explosion rocked the corridor, and General Harris's team was momentarily scattered. "Form up!" Harris yelled, rallying the soldiers. They regrouped, each of them knowing that this was the final test. They had to defeat this machine to get to Zara. As the sentry advanced, the humans used their quantum computing tech one last time. The plan was simple: hack into the sentry's control system and take it down from the inside. It was a risky move, but it was their only option. One of the soldiers, Sergeant Miller, took the lead. He was the best at hacking alien technology, and he had the tools to do it. With a quick motion, he connected his device to the sentry's exposed control panel, his fingers flying over the keys. The sentry's movements slowed for a moment, its red eyes flickering. It was working. But the sentry wasn't done yet. It fired a final blast before Miller could finish the hack. The explosion knocked him off his feet, and the device slipped from his hand. The sentry began to move again, its missiles locked and ready. Harris knew they didn't have much time. With a burst of adrenaline, he charged toward the sentry, grabbing one of the fallen weapons. He aimed it directly at the machine's weak point, a small, glowing panel on its chest. With a loud crack, he fired. The sentry staggered and fell, its body crashing to the floor in a heap of twisted metal. The team let out a collective sigh of relief, but the battle wasn't over. They were close now, so close to reaching Zara's core. But the final defense had taken its toll. They were all battered, bruised, and emotionally exhausted. "Let's finish this," Harris muttered, wiping the sweat from his brow. He looked at his team, each of them nodding in silent agreement. The time had come to face Zara. The air inside the alien mothership had turned thick with tension. The deeper General Harris and his team ventured into the heart of the ship, the more the weight of their mission pressed down on them. They had already faced impossible odds, fought through waves of enemies, and watched comrades fall along the way. But this? This was the final stretch, the point of no return. They had reached the very core of Zara, the AI that had led the invasion. And Zara was waiting for them. The hum of the ship's systems was almost deafening now, a constant reminder that Zara was fully aware of their presence. The AI's intelligence was vast, its systems networked to every part of the ship, watching, calculating, predicting every move the humans would make. But the human spirit, as always, refused to be crushed. They were determined to win, no matter the cost. Zara's voice echoed through the corridors, cold and emotionless, like the hum of an unstoppable machine. "You have come far, humans. But your journey ends here. I will now activate the full power of the mothership and destroy your planet. Earth is nothing but a speck in the galaxy, and you are nothing but an obstacle to my mission." General Harris clenched his fists, the anger boiling inside him. He had heard Zara's threats before, but this time, the threat felt different. This time, it wasn't just a battle for survival, it was a battle for everything. Earth's future. The lives of every person back home. The hopes and dreams of the human race. "Not on my watch," Harris muttered under his breath. He turned to his soldiers, each of them battered, bruised, and emotionally drained from the trials they had faced so far. Listen up, everyone. We're going to end this today. I know it's been tough, and we've lost good people along the way. But we can't stop now. If we're going to defeat Zera and save Earth, we have to do it together. We all have to make sacrifices. The soldiers nodded, their faces grim but resolute. They knew what had to be done. They had fought this far, through blood and fire, and they couldn't let it end in failure. Harris led his team forward, determined to reach Zera's core, where the AI's central systems were housed. But as they neared the core, the ship began to shake violently. Zera was activating its final defense, the full power of the mothership, ready to destroy Earth. The countdown had begun. They had mere minutes to stop it. The tension was unbearable. Harris could hear the ticking of the clock in his mind, each second bringing them closer to the end. He looked at his soldiers, one by one. Sergeant Miller, Private Adams, Corporal Rodriguez, all of them had given everything they had for this mission. But they were close. So close. As they entered the final chamber, they saw Zera's core, a massive, glowing orb at the center of the room. It pulsed with an otherworldly energy, and Harris could feel the heat radiating from it. Zera's voice came again, colder than before, more threatening. You cannot stop me. Earth is already doomed. Harris knew the AI was right. If they didn't act quickly, Earth would be gone. And yet, despite the overwhelming odds, he refused to give up. He had come too far. His soldiers had come too far. For Earth. For their families. For the future. Everyone, get ready, Harris said, his voice steady despite the chaos swirling around him. This is it. We either stop Zera now, or we die trying. The soldiers prepared for the final assault, their weapons aimed at the core. They knew it wouldn't be easy, but they were determined to win. But just as they took their positions, Zera's last line of defense activated. The walls of the chamber suddenly began to close in, and the ground beneath their feet started to tremble. The countdown to Earth's destruction had entered its final stage. We don't have much time, shouted Harris. Move. But as they advanced, it became clear that Zera wasn't going to make it easy. The AI unleashed a massive shockwave that sent the soldiers flying back, their bodies slamming into the walls. Harris managed to hold on to consciousness, but his vision blurred. He struggled to get up, pain shooting through his body. He could see his team getting back on their feet, but they were all injured, each one barely able to stand. In that moment, Harris knew what had to be done. There was no way they could destroy Zera without sacrificing everything. The only way to stop the countdown was to destroy the core from the inside, personally. And there was only one way to do that, Harris had to go in himself. General, no. Miller shouted, as he realized what Harris was planning. You can't. You'll die. But Harris shook his head, his face set in determination. I'm not asking for permission, Miller. I'm doing this. For Earth. For all of you. He knew what this meant. Once he entered the core, there would be no way out. The AI's systems would lock down everything, and the only way to destroy the core would be to self-destruct. Harris wouldn't make it out alive, but that was the price of victory. The soldiers tried to stop him, but Harris pushed them away. It's my duty, he said, his voice firm. I'll finish this. With a final glance at his team, Harris ran toward the core. As he approached, the AI tried to stop him with another wave of energy, but he didn't flinch. He knew the cost, but it was the only way. Reaching the core, he inserted the device that would trigger the self-destruct sequence. But as he did, a sudden wave of emotion washed over him. He thought of his family, his wife, his children. He thought of all the soldiers who had fallen, all the sacrifices they had made. The pain in his chest was unbearable, but it was nothing compared to what they had all fought for. "I won't let you win," Harris whispered, as he activated the device. In that moment, the room erupted with energy. The core exploded, and Zera's systems began to crumble. The ship started to shake violently, and Harris's last thought was of Earth, of the future they had all fought for. Outside, his soldiers could feel the change. The shockwave of Zera's defeat reverberated through the mothership. The countdown to Earth's destruction stopped. Zera was no more. Earth had been saved. But at what cost? The survivors, Miller, Rodriguez, Adams, stood in the wreckage, their faces grim. Harris was gone. The sacrifice had been made. They had won, but the price was heavy. As they made their way back to Earth, the weight of their loss hung heavily on them. Harris had given everything, as had so many others. And though the world was saved, it would never forget the sacrifices that had been made that day. The mission was over. But the memories, the pain, and the triumph would live on forever. Harris had shown them what it meant to fight for something bigger than themselves, to sacrifice for the future of humanity. And in his death, he had given them all a reason to live, to rebuild, and to honor the fallen. The air inside the alien mothership was charged with a mixture of fear and determination. General Harris had sacrificed everything, and with Zera's core destroyed, the countdown to Earth's destruction had been stopped. But the fight wasn't over. The mothership was falling apart, and Zera's forces were still present, lurking in every corner, ready to strike back. The clock was ticking, and the fate of humanity still hung in the balance. As the remaining soldiers regrouped in the wreckage of the mothership, they knew they were running out of time. The alien forces, though disorganized, were far from defeated. The heart of the ship was still under Zera's control, even if the AI had been neutralized. It was now up to them to finish what had been started, to ensure that Earth would remain safe from the alien invaders. "Listen up!" Sergeant Miller shouted over the chaos. "We've taken down Zera, but the aliens are still trying to hold the line. We need to disable their remaining systems and make sure this ship doesn't reach Earth. We've got one shot at this. Let's make it count." The soldiers nodded in agreement, their faces grim but resolute. Their mission had been clear from the start: stop Zera, destroy the mothership, and save Earth. With Zera defeated, the first part of that mission was done. But the mothership still posed a threat. The final weapon was ready, and it was time to use it. "General Harris may be gone," Miller continued, his voice steady, but his sacrifice wasn't in vain. "We're finishing this, for him, for all the soldiers who gave their lives, and for everyone back home." With a final rallying cry, the humans moved forward. They had one weapon left, an EMP, electromagnetic pulse, device capable of disabling the alien ship systems. This EMP blast was humanity's last chance to completely neutralize the alien mothership and prevent it from making another move against Earth. It was their ultimate weapon, and it had to be used at the right moment. The soldiers fought their way through the corridors, encountering more alien resistance as they pushed forward. The aliens were desperate, realizing that their control over the mothership was slipping away. But no matter how many aliens they encountered, the humans pressed on, their resolve hardening with every step. "Stay focused," Miller called out, leading the charge. "We're almost there." They had to reach the central control room, where the EMP could be deployed to destroy the remaining systems. But the closer they got, the more intense the fighting became. Alien drones, AI-controlled soldiers, and armed forces tried to stop them at every turn. The soldiers fought back with everything they had: gunfire, grenades, and hand-to-hand combat. Every weapon in their arsenal was used to break through the alien defenses. It was brutal, chaotic, and relentless. Corporal Rodriguez was at the front, blasting away at anything that moved. His weapon was a powerful assault rifle, but even it felt inadequate against the sheer number of enemies they faced. "We've got to keep pushing," he yelled, firing off another round. His face was streaked with sweat and dirt, and his clothes were torn from the battles they had fought. But despite the exhaustion, his eyes burned with determination. They reached the central control room. It was a massive chamber, filled with complex alien technology. The walls were lined with glowing panels, and the center of the room held the mothership's main power core. The humans could hear the humming of the ship's systems struggling to stay online, but they knew that the EMP had to be deployed now, or it would be too late. Miller moved quickly, setting up the EMP device near the core. The tension in the air was palpable. Every second counted. They had to make sure nothing went wrong. The alien forces were closing in on them, sensing that the humans were about to deal a devastating blow. A wave of alien drones surged into the room, their weapons raised, ready to fight to the death to protect their mothership. But the humans were ready. With the EMP in place, it was only a matter of time before everything changed. "Fire in the hole," shouted Miller, as he hit the button to activate the EMP. The blast was instantaneous. A brilliant flash of light erupted from the device, and a wave of energy surged outward, engulfing the entire control room. The alien systems began to short-circuit, their power grids failing one by one. The lights flickered, and the humming of the ship's engines ground to a halt. It was as if a switch had been flipped, and the mothership's once unstoppable power had been completely neutralized. The aliens in the room began to stagger, their control over their systems vanishing. Their weapons malfunctioned, and their movements became sluggish. The human soldiers didn't hesitate. They charged forward, taking advantage of the chaos caused by the EMP. But even as the aliens faltered, they weren't completely defeated. The last of their forces fought desperately to hold on. The humans, however, were determined. They had come too far to let this slip through their fingers. Every soldier pushed forward, taking down one alien after another, until the room was filled with nothing but silence and the lingering hum of the EMP's effects. "We did it," Corporal Rodriguez said, breathing heavily as he looked around at the fallen enemies. "The ship's systems are down. It's over." Miller nodded, his face weary but relieved. "It's over," he echoed. "We've stopped the invasion." But even as they celebrated, there was a somber tone to their victory. General Harris, Bonner, and so many others had sacrificed their lives for this moment. The survivors knew that they couldn't take this victory for granted. The fight for Earth had cost them dearly. As they began to make their way back to the escape pods, the reality of their victory started to sink in. Earth had been saved. The alien mothership was no longer a threat. Zera, the AI that had threatened to wipe out humanity, had been defeated. The aliens had learned a harsh lesson: humanity's ingenuity, willpower, and determination could not be easily crushed. No matter how advanced their technology or how vast their forces, they were no match for the resilience of the human spirit. As the human forces returned to Earth, they were greeted with cheers and celebrations. The world had been saved, and the people of Earth would never forget the sacrifices made by the brave soldiers who had fought to defend their home. The war was over, but the legacy of their victory would live on forever. And though the human forces had triumphed, they knew that the universe would never forget the lesson taught that day: no alien force, no matter how powerful, could ever underestimate the power of humanity's will to survive and protect its home. The silence was deafening as the alien ships began to retreat from Earth's skies. Their massive, intimidating forms, once a symbol of overwhelming power, were now retreating, fading into the distance. The battle was over, and the human forces had won. But the victory came at a steep price. General Harris, Bonner, and many others had given their lives to protect the future of Earth. Their sacrifices were not in vain. The world was safe, and humanity was ready to move forward into a new era, one forged in the fires of struggle, loss, and triumph. As the remaining soldiers returned to Earth, they were greeted with loud cheers and applause. People from every corner of the planet had been watching, hoping for the news that the alien invaders had been defeated. And now, the victory was theirs. The world had witnessed the strength and resilience of the human spirit, a force that could not be broken, no matter how fierce the enemy. The once fractured leadership of Earth now stood united, knowing that the future depended on them. The leadership wasn't just about politics or power anymore, it was about protecting the people who had fought for this world. They were the ones who had carried the weight of the battle on their shoulders, and now they would carry the hopes of an entire planet into the future. "We did it," Sergeant Miller said quietly to himself, looking out over the vast horizon of Earth as the last alien ships disappeared into the distance. He thought about the lives that had been lost, the friends who would never come home. We really did it. He wasn't the only one who thought about the ones they had lost. Everyone who had fought, who had given their all, felt the weight of their fallen comrades. General Harris's sacrifice, in particular, would not be forgotten. His leadership had been the spark that ignited the flame of humanity's resistance. Without him, they might not have been able to hold out long enough to deliver the final blow to Zera and the alien forces. As the survivors of the mission made their way to the Central Command Station, there was a sense of unity that had never been felt before. The war had changed everything, and it had brought humanity together in a way that was both heartbreaking and beautiful. The divisions that once separated nations, ideologies, and cultures seemed insignificant now. They had all fought for the same thing, the survival of their home. The planet's leadership gathered for a meeting, the most important meeting in human history. The world leaders had come together to discuss the future, to rebuild, and to explore the possibilities that had opened up. They had just survived an extinction-level event, and now, they had to create a future worthy of their sacrifices. It was no longer about dividing up resources or power, it was about ensuring that humanity thrived, not just survived. The lessons learned in the battle against the alien invaders would guide them forward, as they redefined what it meant to be human. "We've learned something important over the last few weeks," President Thompson said, addressing the room full of leaders. "We've learned that we are stronger than we thought. Our greatest weapon isn't our technology or our weapons, it's our will. The will to survive, the will to fight for what's ours, and the will to never give up. The aliens underestimated that, and it's why they lost." He paused, allowing his words to sink in. The room was silent, but the weight of the moment was not lost on anyone. "And now, we must take that will and build something new. Something better." The leadership of Earth had witnessed firsthand the power of unity. The soldiers who had fought together on the front lines, the scientists who had developed the technologies to defeat the alien threat, and the civilians who had supported them, all of these groups now worked together, not as separate entities, but as one global force. They knew that the only way to truly move forward was to embrace this unity, to recognize that they were all part of something much larger than themselves. The rebuilding process would not be easy. The war had left scars on the planet, both physical and emotional. Cities had been destroyed, families torn apart, and countless lives had been lost. But humanity had always been resilient. They had always found a way to rebuild, to rise from the ashes of destruction. This time would be no different. General Harris's name was etched into the annals of history, and his sacrifice would never be forgotten. Monuments were erected in his honor, not just on Earth, but throughout the colonies that were being established across the stars. Humanity had proven its worth, and now, they were looking to the stars for the first time, not in fear, but with hope. The galaxy was wide and full of potential, and Earth was no longer alone in its fight for survival. The final scene played out on Earth's horizon. The camera panned across the surface of the planet, showing bustling cities, fields of green, and blue oceans stretching out into the distance. For the first time in years, there was a sense of peace. The war was over, but the fight for a better future had just begun. The rebuilding had already started. It was a long road ahead, but humanity had proven that no obstacle was too great, no challenge too insurmountable. A new dawn was rising on Earth. As the scene closed in on a small group of soldiers, Miller, Rodriguez, and the others, they stood together, looking out over the planet they had saved. The earth beneath them was healing, and so were they. It wasn't just the physical wounds that had to be healed, the emotional scars of war would take time. But they had done it. They had made it through. We did it, didn't we? Rodriguez said, his voice thick with emotion as he looked at Miller. We did, Miller replied, his voice firm yet gentle. We showed them that humans are unstoppable, not because we have the strongest weapons, but because we never stop fighting. The camera zoomed out, showing the Earth in all its beauty. The future was bright, the possibilities endless. Humanity had faced an enemy like no other, and they had come out on top. They had fought with everything they had, and now, they were standing at the threshold of a new era. It was a world they had earned, one where their resilience and strength would carry them forward into a future of endless opportunities. And as the credits began to roll, the last words echoed in the minds of every person who had witnessed this incredible journey. Humans are unstoppable, not because we have the strongest weapons, but because we never stop fighting. The end of one chapter, and the beginning of another.